Hi there, it's David from Kepler Trust Intelligence. Today I'm going to be giving you the lowdown on Bellevue Healthcare, which has the ticker BBH. Now, as its name suggests, BBH invests in a concentrated portfolio of equities within the global healthcare industry. The portfolio managers are Paul Major and Brett Dark. Paul has been running the company since its IPO in December 2016, while Brett joined him 8 months later. Paul studied biochemistry and has 26 years of experience within the healthcare sector, while Brett has a master's degree in medicine and management studies and has 21 years of experience, 11 of which were spent covering the healthcare and life sciences sectors. The investment objective is to provide shareholders with capital growth and income. Its two return objectives are to beat the total return of the MSCI World Healthcare Index on a rolling 3-year basis and to try to generate a double-digit total return per year over a rolling 3-year period. Paul and Brett's investment process is broadly split into 4 different stages. First, they analyse each of the subsectors within the healthcare industry, assessing their relative valuations, growth prospects and regulatory outlook, as well as the risks and opportunities associated with the political environment and M&A activity. It's worth noting here that as a result of this analysis, Paul and Brett are quite happy to decide not to own whole healthcare subsectors for long periods of time if they deem it appropriate. Secondly, Paul and Brett have their own proprietary screening tools that they use to identify the most promising candidates for inclusion in the portfolio. The quality and accessibility of management are 2 key criteria they highlight here. Now, having narrowed the global healthcare industry down to an investable universe, Paul and Brett then do fundamental analysis of these companies. This includes assessing how attractive each subsector is, as well as the expected returns, downside risk and trading liquidity in each potential investee company. The final step is the risk management framework, which is provided both by Paul and Brett as well as the independent board. The team highlights its sell discipline here. The share price and valuations of each portfolio holding is monitored continuously and checked against Paul and Brett's views on valuations and expected returns. I think at this point I'm going to highlight the content produced by the BBH team here because it's an excellent resource not only for investors in BBH and potential investors in BBH, but really anyone interested in the healthcare industry, whether that's from an investment perspective or just a general perspective. BBH's fact sheets to me have to be one of the best in the business, and we'll have a scroll through here. You can see it's 10 pages long, which is very lengthy for a fact sheet. So basically you have the standard first fact sheet page, which is, performance and kind of details on the fund. And then you get into this really long kind of in-depth comprehensive view of kind of what's happened. Firstly, with the trust over the past few months, how performance has been, what they've done in terms of, here you can see in May, they increased their weighting to diagnostics and focused therapeutics and decreased medtech and services. And then you get a bit of an overview of what's happened in the healthcare sector in general, with the performance of each subsector, but also comparing healthcare to other sectors in the World Index. And then you get down to Managers' Musings, which is essentially Paul and Brett's blog, which you can also find on the BBH website, which we'll go on to shortly. Previously, they've talked about the reasons why they don't own the big healthcare names such as Eli Lilly and Novo Nordisk, who produce the GLP-1 weight loss drugs. This is the May fact sheet just before the general election. And this was kind of used as a kind of a recap and a view on the UK's 3 leading political parties' manifesto pledges regarding the provision of healthcare and social care. But we won't dwell on that here too much. It's definitely worth a read, even though when you listen to this, you'll kind of know who's won the election. And we'll go down. I mean, it is very long, but really interesting. And then finally, we'll get to the penultimate page, which gives you an overview of the makeup of the portfolio. Now let's go down a little bit further and
The first thing you can kind of see is that firstly it's very overweight to the US, 97.3% of its portfolio there, and really it's a kind of small and mid-cap play on the healthcare sector with over 2/3 of the portfolio here. And you can see the sector breakdown. Now, focus therapeutics, which is the largest sector in the portfolio, that's kind of essentially biotechnology companies, but it's got decent weightings in a few others as well, health tech, services and diagnostics. Turning to performance, first off, bear in mind that this fact sheet shows the performance up to the end of March, but we can see that since it was launched in 2016, BBH's net asset value had risen 89.5%, while its share price total return was 79.4%. Now, clearly that is behind its benchmark return of 116.9%. But if we flip back to the KTI website, we certainly think that it's worth bearing in mind BBH's twin objectives here, particularly the first, which is to deliver NAV total returns above the benchmark over rolling 3-year periods. Now, our research, as you can see from these green and yellow bars, shows that BBH has hit this target 69% of the time.
As I mentioned earlier, BBH aims to provide shareholders with income as well as capital growth. Now, with small cap healthcare being a sector that isn't blessed with high dividend payers, BBH's income comes from capital. The dividend policy is to pay 3.5% of the net asset value at the start of the financial year in dividends, which means that the income you get will fluctuate as the NAV does. The 2023 dividend was 5.99p per share, but that's expected to be lower in 2024 at about 5.04p, which gives it a forward yield of 3.6%. Paul and Brett aim to run a fully invested portfolio and to use a mid to high single-digit level of gearing over the medium term, although they do move gearing around tactically depending on their views of the market. Gearing can be up to 20% of net assets, and BBH currently has a multi-currency revolving credit facility worth $280 million. The ongoing charge for BBH is 1.02%, of which the management fee is 0.95% of market cap, and there is no performance fee. This compares well with the weighted average charge of the biotech and healthcare sector at 1.25%. The current discount is about 5%, which has narrowed in recent months, but BBH had traded on a premium in the first half of 2022. Its 5-year average discount is 2.2%. As I said before, the BBH website is well worth exploring, where you can find all of Paul and Brett's excellent blogs. Don't forget to check out the KTI website too for our latest research on BBH and for more information. Thanks for watching today's video, and we hope to see you soon.
Past performance is not a reliable indicator of future results. The value of investments can fall as well as rise, and you may get back less than you invested when you decide to sell your investments. It is strongly recommended that if you are a private investor, independent financial advice should be taken before making any investment or financial decision. Please be aware that there can be a time lag when we release videos, meaning time-sensitive information may no longer be accurate at the time of publication. Kepler Partners LLP has a relationship with some of the companies covered in this video, which may impair its objectivity. Kepler Partners LLP is authorized and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority.